Hello, Internet. Have you ever noticed that when people correct your grammar, they often try to argue from a position of logic? For example, you can't have two negatives because that makes a positive, as if language was some kind of mathematical equation. Or they might say, me and my wife is wrong because me is the object, and so it should be my wife and I. The implication here is that language is entirely rule-bound, and we must never deviate from these rules. However, there are literally hundreds of what linguist John McWhorter calls dings in English that belie this idea of logic and rules. These dings are everywhere, and yet the people who so insistently correct your grammar never seem to care about these in the slightest. So let's examine some of the weirdness which passes for everyday good English. Missing adverbs. Adjectives in English like happy and sad are often used to describe things, like the boy was happy or the girl was sad. When we want to describe actions, we often add ly to the end, like the boy played happily or the girl spoke sadly. Then we have the word friendly. The ly makes it look like an adverb, but it isn't. Like happy and sad, it's an adjective. So what happens when we want to make it into an adverb? We can't. Think about it. He talked friendlily. He talked friendly. Doesn't work. Useless. Illogical language. Plurals. English has countable nouns, and so for more than one of something, we have to make the noun plural. Pretty simple. You just add s. So dog becomes dogs, and cat becomes cat. Except if there is a final sibilant sound, then we add es. So bus becomes buses, and witch becomes witches. It's pretty simple, except if there's an O at the end, and then we add es, so potato becomes potatoes, and tomato becomes tomatoes. Or but some words ending in O, like photo, just add an S. It's pretty simple. And then there are words ending in F, like roof, which take VES to make roofs. But words like proof don't. And with dwarf, well, it's up to you. Got it? It's simple. There are just a few more things I forgot to mention, like deer or sheep, which don't change at all. Child and ox, which take ren and n, respectively. Foot and tooth become feet and teeth. But note, saber-tooth doesn't become saber-teeth. Finally, men becomes man, medium becomes media, person becomes people or persons, fungus becomes fungi, and so on and so forth. Simple, right? Actually, it's not simple at all. The rules are legion and read a bit like Apple's terms and conditions. It's a miracle that anyone manages to master them at all. Does anyone complain about this being illogical? No. No one does. But you used a double negative, so off with your head. Didn't you go? Like I've is I have and I'll is I will, didn't you go is a contraction. But a contraction of what exactly? Didn't you go is not a contraction of did not you go, because no one says that. It's a contraction of did you not go, which rightly should be did you'n't go. But nobody says that. Is anybody upset by this? No. Exactly no one is upset by this. They're upset because you said less instead of fewer. Another. A lot gets a lot of stick on the interweb. Do you see what I did there? But another gets a pass. What do I mean? Well, another is basically just other, with a stuck to the front for no reason at all. Check it out. The other, my other, three others, other, and another. No other word gets this special treatment. We don't write the apple, my apple, three apples, and an apple, do we? Who cares about this? That's right. Say it with me. No one cares about this. Finally, country adjectives. The Japanese live in Japan, the Portuguese live in Portugal, and the Vietnamese live in Vietnam. So far so good, right? Wrong. The country adjective system in English makes no sense, and no one seems bothered by this in the slightest. The problem occurs with the word land. Obviously, England, we know, changes into English. But what about the others? Well, let's have a look. England, English. Poland, Polish. Scotland, Scottish. So far so good. Thailand, Thai. Iceland, Icelandic. Switzerland, Swiss. New Zealand, New Zealand? New Zealandish? Kiwi? What kind of sense does this all make? None. It's nonsense. Does anyone get upset about it? No. And these are just a few of the illogical horrors that pass for good language use. Like, why does am become are in a tag question like, I'm confused, aren't I? No other verb does that. Why does will change to woe when you put not after it? I do say, I don't say, I will say, I won't say. What's that all about? Why is there no plural second person pronoun in English? I, we, he, she, they, you. What a cop-out. Rubbish. Nobody cares. So there you have it. None of this makes any sense, and yet everyone is fine with it, even those people correcting the way you use language. It's like buying a house where half the windows are missing and the garden is on fire, and then complaining about how some of the ornaments are broken. So the next time someone points out a grammar mistake you made, ask them why they aren't bothered by all the other weirdness in English.